Thank you for joining with me for Lesson 346 in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. Today the peace of God envelops me and I forget all things except His love. Father, I wake today with miracles correcting my perception of all things. So begins the day I share with you as I will share eternity, for time has stepped aside today. I do not seek the things of time, and so I will not look upon them. What I seek today transcends all laws of time and things perceived in time. I would forget all things except your love. I would abide in you and know no laws except your law of love. And I would find the peace which you created for your Son, forgetting all the foolish toys I made as I behold your glory and my own. And when the evening comes today, we will remember nothing but the peace of God, for we will learn today what peace is ours when we forget all things except God's love. Beautiful lesson. Today, the peace of God envelops me, and I forget all things except His love. We will move into a silent meditation, and please use the mantra of your choice or this lesson to help anchor your thoughts, and watch all other thoughts pass on like tiny bubbles, just popping away. Today the peace of God envelops me, and I forget all things except His love. Today the peace of God envelops me and I forget all things except His love. This is another important lesson that can be helpful as you go through your day. Realize how much you forget His love and seek to remember everything else. If it is His love you really want to remember, your specialness needs will recede into the background and His love, as reflected through Jesus' teachings of forgiveness, will come to the foreground. If you realize that the purpose of this day is not to satisfy your ego needs, but rather to be a classroom in which your only need of forgiveness is satisfied, that purpose will be the foreground, and the daily events and relationships will reflect that changed purpose. They will thus have become the curriculum in which you learn the lessons that will speed you along your atonement path. That is the meaning of I forget all things except His love. Jesus does not mean that you literally have to think of God's love throughout the day, but He asks that you think of the gift of love's reflection offers you in every and very specific ways. In very specific ways, the opportunity of learning lessons in your classroom of forgiveness. So He asks that you think of the gift love's reflection offers you in very specific ways, the opportunity of learning lessons in your classroom of forgiveness. When I choose the holy instant, I am outside time. That is how it has stepped aside. This does not mean I deny that I live in a world of time and space. It simply means that the world recedes into the background, its place taken by the lesson that comes from timelessness. My reality is outside the dream. I now understand I chose this dream because I desired to keep my special dream figure alive and well, but am ready and willing to learn something else. This does not mean that you don't watch news programs, read a newspaper, or listen to someone's sad story, but that you look at them through Jesus' eyes. Remember that before you realize the perceptual world is an illusion, you must first reverse the perceived figure and ground. You do not want to skip steps, meaning that before you realize the illusory nature of everything, including yourself, you first must pay careful attention to what goes on here, but seen with a different purpose. The world of specialness, instead of being front and center, becomes the background of your new purpose. Thus, what emerges in the foreground is Jesus' teaching that will help you realize that you can look on the world another way. The foolish toys, as we have seen elsewhere, are the ego's thoughts of sin and attack. So the last sentence, when evening comes today, we will remember nothing but the peace of God, for we will learn today what peace is ours when we forget all things except God's love. This is the thought with which we should awaken, keeping with us throughout the day, and with which we go to bed. Namely, our only purpose here is learning we are not here. Our loving teacher helps us to remember this purpose when we forget. And so it is. So I was struggling. It's Saturday here in my world of time and space. And I have to work today. I'm a little stressed out. It's right before Christmas. Not right before, a couple weeks before Christmas. I think it's the 11th today. And I have to work because I have some reports I have to do this week and took on a new account. So I'm all up in my ego and stress and sad and blah, blah, blah. And I am so grateful for this. This puts everything. I needed this today, especially because instead of looking at it in the ego's point of view, I can turn it around. learning lessons in my classroom of forgiveness. How easily I forget still after all these years. And that is exactly why I do this. I do it to help remember the truth, and because I forget so easily, so easily. As much time as I spend in A Course in Miracles on a daily basis and have since 2007, I just forget so easily. So I'm so thankful for this. Today the peace of God envelops me and I forget all things except His love. And now I can go into work with this attitude and grace, and not take it so seriously or so heavily, and not be stressed. Let all that go and remember my purpose in this world, and not listen to my sad story, but look at this whole situation through Jesus' eyes. So I must reverse the perceived figure and ground. Before I realize the illusory nature of everything, I must pay careful attention to what goes on here, but seen with a different purpose, a purpose of forgiveness. This world will become the background of my new purpose. Thus, what emerges is Jesus' teaching that will help me realize that I can look on the world another way. I choose the holy instant. Today, the peace of God envelops me, and I forget all things except His love. I love you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I read through Ken Wapnick's Journey Through the Workbook of A Course in Miracles, which I absolutely love and would highly recommend. I think it's an 8-volume set. Let me see. This is the last volume, and it's seven volumes. And it's absolutely wonderful. You don't even need the A Course in Miracles workbook for students, because the entire lesson is in his book, but it is broken down, so I like to have them both close. I love you. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening to my processing and rambling. I'm just going to read this one more time. Okay, just this part. If you realize that the purpose of this day is not to satisfy your ego's needs, but rather to be a classroom in which your only need of forgiveness is satisfied, that purpose will be the foreground, and the daily events and relationships will reflect that changed purpose. So we only need remember the classroom in which our only need of forgiveness is satisfied. I love you. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Today, the peace of God envelops me, and I forget all things except His love.